My great state, Illinois, and our wonderful governor, J.B. Pritzker, have actually done something in the way of protecting people, namely child influencers. Because Illinois became the first state in the country to pass a law protecting child influencers, signing it into law last week. Now, this legislation comes as ethical concerns have been raised about family vloggers. I'm sure everyone knows of at least one mommy vlogger, content creator, as well as parenting influencers who share content of their children without their informed consent for monetary gain. Now, Sarah Adams, who is an advocate for this legislation and a TikToker who calls out child exploitation online, had this to say. There's a lot of excitement that these conversations are not only being had, but that legislation is being enacted to protect the income that these kids are generating, because we need to be realistic. It's the children that are generating income for these families. So this new law is going to take effect next July. It mirrors California's Coogan Act, which protects the earnings of child performers. From NBC News, content creators in Illinois must set aside a portion of any earnings from videos, including the likeness, name, or photograph of the minor, in a trust for them to access upon adulthood, according to the law. The percentage of earnings allocated is based on how heavily that minor is featured in the content, including in stories told about them without necessarily showing their image. And I'll stop there to say that is so deeply important, because for some of these children, it's not just that their pictures, their videos of them are being put online. It's that the most intimate details of their growing up are being shared for the monetary gain of their parents. There was one now she's an adult, but she testified that her mom shared with her tens of thousands of Facebook followers the story of her first period, something that I think most young girls don't want the details of being broadly displayed to the public. And that's something that she can never taken down. So it's important that they also are just protecting stories about the children and not just their likeness. But I'll continue on from that report from NBC News that said creators who fail to meet this criteria can be sued for damages, but the bill does not provide a government enforcement mechanism. Meeting compliance and legal action is left up to individual families. Now, the law, which was brought to State Senator David Kohler by a high school student, Shreya Nalamathu, focuses on entitling child influencers to a percentage of their earnings. However, it doesn't include protections for their choice to stay off the internet or to remove previous content, though the original version of the bill had included a provision enabling former child influencers to request that platforms permanently delete monetized content posted of them as a minor, after often referred to as the right to be forgotten. Now, the young girl who, this was literally a project that she was doing for a class in her high school, and now she's actually gotten it passed as legislation. But she's recognized that the law is not perfect, and she had this to say: "I didn't want an obsession with it being perfect to stop real progress being made, because this is a first step, and I'm just excited to see child influencing being legitimized and on the books." Now, advocates obviously are hoping that this will inspire further legislation in other states, because I'll say that this legislation passed unanimously, bipartisan effort to get this passed through our legislator. So we're hoping, obviously, that we can see this continuing on in other states. We can see it maybe at a national level. Washington State is already working to pass a similar piece of legislation. And if anyone's ever seen any sort of this like mom influencer content, the mommy vloggers, the family vloggers, it is like, I mean, I don't know if Jackson, you've ever seen anything like that. It makes me sick to my stomach to see how these people profit off of their just filming their children for strangers on the internet. There was a woman who decided she was gonna stop posting her children on TikTok. And I remember the comments and the backlash from the people who watch her videos was heinous. They were like, "I need to see my daughter," referring to this woman's daughter. I mean, God, if that's not enough reason for no one to ever post pictures of their children online, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be pictures of your kids or pictures of any intimate details of your life. I mean, people can do what they like, but to this degree, I think that this is a very important step that Illinois took, because, I mean, once you brand yourself, it's really hard to escape from that. You know, what either one time to make a good impression, first impressions. There's a saying of that for a reason. I mean, you look at people like Lil Tay, who had really no say in what was happening with her, but now she's forever gonna be Lil Tay. I mean, they just acted like, you know, she's still alive and all that and everything before that, or people like Boom Gang, or just all these internet celebrities who come and go, and they're never really gonna be able to escape that. And it can be for things that are maybe less serious, like, you know, you and I work in the political commentary space. I've been approached by a few networks to be on like dating shows, like be on some island and stuff like that. And at the time, I'm glad I didn't take it, because that would have affected, like, I just looked like some thirsty F-boy trying to be famous. You know what I'm saying? That's less of a serious degree, but again, you gotta be careful how it is that you present yourself. And a child, obviously, they don't even know who they are yet, so they have no say in it. So, you know, if you're talking about intimate details, or, you know, just kind of parading your kid around, they're always gonna be that kid that everyone remembers. And more, you know, you got 8, 9-month-old, 1-year-old babies who know how to navigate YouTube and know how to navigate TikTok and stuff like that. So I think this is a good step, because we have to realize how much of our lives have gone into the digital space.
I just want to give people sort of an idea of how heinous this I keep saying mommy because that's usually how they're referred to, but it's not just moms, it's dads too, how heinous this industry is and how much money it racks in. Because there have been family vloggers who have adopted children for their family vlog channel and then unadopted those kids when it proved to not be lucrative for them. That's the level of just degeneracy that this is. I mean, and just to start with the thumbnails that they post, if like, I remember there was this family vlog that was being seriously called out because they filmed a trip to the hospital when one of their kids was severely injured and monetized it. They uploaded it to make money off of it. And when I was a kid, I broke my leg. And if the first thing my parents did was go and get the camera to film it for their YouTube channel, I think I would never want to speak to them ever again. Luckily, I have wonderful parents. I love them very much. But I mean, there's no other way to put it. So much of this is just disgusting child abuse. Jackson, I'll let you get the last word in on this story.
Yeah, and you know, perhaps the most dangerous drug is attention that people can get. I don't know if that's literally true, but it is a drug, you know. And nowadays, you know, a little bit of everybody can be a celebrity, or I would say celebrity doesn't hold as much weight as it used to. But if you can catch some views on TikTok, if you can catch some views on YouTube, it can be addicting. It kind of maybe gives you a sense of purpose. It maybe gives you a sense of community. But also, I think one of the sad things is that a lot of these people aren't really making money for real doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're profiting, sure, but it's not like they're making significant money. Like they still gotta work. You know what I'm saying? Like they still gotta go to work, and like they can't really just kick their feet up with this. So it's like they could be ruining their kids' social lives, all for honestly a few $1,000s.
Right, yeah, and when you think about how little money some of these influencer channels are making, I mean, of course, some of them are really hitting it big, but the people who are trying to get into it to like exploit your child for like a few bucks on the side is, I mean, it's gross. So hopefully we'll see more legislation coming out of other states that's similar. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.